So थोड़ा सा different set design today. Hope you like it. But if you don't follow me on Twitter, you would not know two things. First, I got both the iPhone 12 and the 12 mini. Uh, and I already made a video on the 12 mini. But I also used the iPhone 7 for 4 years. So I'm used to using a phone with a smaller screen. I'm used to using a small phone. I'm used to using a phone with just one hand. So even though the iPhone 12 mini launched like 2 weeks after the regular iPhone 12, and even though I'd already bought the iPhone 12, मैं फिर भी iPhone 12 mini खरीदा just to find out how comfortable I would be with that form factor. Now, in my previous video on the 12 mini, I've already talked about the black color and the new flat edge design, and I will talk about it once again in my upcoming iPhone 12 review. So this video is all about my experience of living with a small phone once again in 2020. So if you watched the previous live stream, the previous Not a Podcast live stream on my channel itself, you would know that my experience with the 12 mini was very different than almost anyone I know who has used the 12 mini. In fact, even on Twitter, I keep seeing it on my timeline. Everyone keeps on appreciating the form factor of the 12 mini. Everyone, random people. I am not one of them. Considering I used the iPhone 7 for so long, and I think there are two reasons for this. First, it is actually even smaller than the iPhone 7. The screen is bigger, but dimensionally it is smaller. The iPhone 7 is taller and wider than the 12 mini, so it feels substantial in my hand. With the 12 mini, I have never had that kind of confidence. It always feels like a very thin, very small DVD player remote control from the old days. The second reason is the iPhone 12. So I actually bought the iPhone 12 on day one, and जब मैं 2 हफ्ते बाद मिनी लाया, it just felt like a toy. I actually performed the same tasks on both the phones, and sure enough I was able to use the 12 mini with just one hand. But using the bigger variant was definitely more enjoyable in certain cases, like watching content or setting up a new wallpaper or video conferencing with someone. In fact, it was not just enjoyable, it was even more convenient in certain cases, like typing. Typing is like a litmus test that everyone should perform to understand which size of the phone they are most comfortable with. Now, I use both of my hands to type, and the iPhone 12 is obviously very spacious, but in the mini, because it's not a very wide screen, keyboard is actually very small. So my fingers did fight for space. Sometimes I even wrote incorrectly, even though I have very thin fingers. I didn't experience this even on the iPhone 7. Basically, using the iPhone mini felt very limiting. I actually tried hard to adjust it and hopefully like it more than the bigger iPhone 12, because after all, the mini is cheaper. But in my entire 1 week of usage, I just could not adjust to a smaller screen. In fact, every time I used it, I unconsciously brought it very close to my eyes. And I tried fixing that by increasing the font size and the icon size, but that just made the UI very ugly. Also, there were some issues with the lock screen touchscreen sensitivity. I mean, touchscreen sensitivity in the lock screen, especially with a certain screen guard and a case applied. Now, I did experience this in the lock screen when it didn't register my tap the first time, a lot of the times. Although I didn't really use a case or a screen guard. I placed an Amazon order, but that got delayed by quite a lot. But so I got in touch with Sumuk Rao. He actually uses a 12 mini with a screen guard and a case. And this is what he had to say.
The day I got it, when I put on the tempered glass and the screen, the touch was kind of working fine, but it was iffy only on the lock screen. So when I was
Same,
trying
same.
to swipe up from here,
मेरा वो
तो
टैप
swipe
नहीं
नहीं
हो
हो
रहा
रहा
था.
था. हाँ सेम. तो पिन एंटर करने के स्क्रीन पे टैप नहीं हो रहा था. So
हाँ.
if
अच्छा, वो भी
जो
नहीं
भी
हो रहा था.
हाँ नहीं. So
मेरा तो
now
मतलब
if
वो
I had to
टैप टू
enter
वेक
my
होता है
pin.
ना. मेरा
अच्छा
खाली
वो
वो.
नहीं वो चल रहा था मेरा. So like now I have to enter my pin, right? So if I'm pressing the two, वो two and input नहीं ले रहा था. It was not taking any input at all. So
Oh.
that was the issue, and it was weird. This was only happening if I tapped with my thumb. If I tapped with my index finger, it was working absolutely fine, which is like very weird. Yeah, and that was the issue, and it was only on the lock screen and on the notification panel. So I couldn't swipe on the notifications either. But एक बार unlock हो जाता phone, तो I could basically do whatever I was doing without any issues. Even while typing or while like swiping to type, I had absolutely no issues. This was only on the lock screen. And हाँ, जब call आता था, you get the swipe to pick up, right? So I wasn't able to swipe from left to right in order to pick up the call.
And now?
तो फिर 14.2.1 अपडेट आया, उसके
Yeah.
बाद they fixed the issue on the lock screen and everything. However, there is one issue still, which I don't know if Apple is even aware of, but people on the forums still know that it is there, and that is same situation, tempered glass plus case. When I place the phone on a table and I try to scroll using my thumb, it doesn't register my touch. It doesn't scroll, so
Scroll like
I
Twitter
cannot
feed,
like.
like Twitter feed.
हाँ हाँ, तो मैंने ऐसे हाथ में फोन लिया है and then I'm scrolling like this, it works. But if I place the phone flat on a desk or any non-conductive surface, basically like wood on my desk, and when I try to scroll with my thumb, it does not work. But if I scroll with my index finger, it works.
And is this related to using it with a case or a screen guard or kaise bhi?
It is related. So the thing is that people apparently are saying that it is some grounding issue. So as soon as you take off the case, your body automatically comes in contact with the metallic part of the phone, which basically grounds the surface, and that's when the touch and everything just starts working. But because you have the case on, it's insulating your body from the metallic surface of the phone. And this is actually true because ऐसे छेद होते हैं ना यहाँ पे पोर्ट के लिए या फिर ये अलर्ट स्लाइडर के लिए. तो if you touch the metallic portion, like if I hold my finger here and touch the metallic portion and then try to operate the display, it works absolutely fine.
Bro, this is like 200 IQ level stuff.
Yeah, same with the camera thing. So camera पे जो rings है ना side में, तो ये metallic है.
हाँ.
So if I touch this with my index finger and then like scroll with my thumb, it works absolutely fine. But only when like you're holding the phone like any normal person would, like touching only the case, that's when like these supposed grounding issues happen.
So is this like a deal breaker?
I don't think so, because if the 14.2.1 update was not rolled out and the issue persisted even on the lock screen while entering the pin and everything, I would say it was a deal breaker. It was very annoying. You just couldn't enter your pin itself, which is very bad.
I remember I mentioned Sumukh in my previous video on the Mini, in which I actually mentioned his tweet, in which he said that you need to get the Mini for the right reason. You need to get it for the size, not the price. I was actually, to be honest, completely fine with even the battery. I used to get 5.5 hours of screen on time, slightly worse than the regular 12, but that was pretty good considering it has an OLED screen. Although अब तो क्योंकि PUBG वापस आ रहा है, then if you play PUBG, if you will play PUBG, you will have to charge it twice a day. But none of that matters. None of the bad stuff matters. None of the fancy stuff matters. The fact that it has an OLED screen does not matter. The fact that it has a flat design, which is very good looking and looks like an upgraded iPhone 5, does not matter. The fact that it has matte black aluminium frame in the black color does not matter. The fact that it has the best camera, the best operating system, slightly thinner bezels, slightly narrower notch, does not matter if you are unable to adjust with the size. Well, at least with me, I was able to tell the moment I unboxed it, the moment I held it in my hand, I knew this is not for me. But I still gave it a shot. I used it for like a week. Loved that I could use it with just one hand, but it was just incomplete. And to be honest, even the iPhone 12 ka size is not very comfortable for me. I can't reach the control center with just one hand. But I would adjust to that size rather than that of the iPhone 12 mini, because it's just more convenient and more enjoyable to use. Plus, it has a better battery life today, as well as it will have a better sustained battery performance over time as the battery health deteriorates. But that's just me. I think this is a very personal decision. There are like a million advantages to using a smaller phone and a million disadvantages. The disadvantages hit me. I think at one point I'll get frustrated while using a smaller phone like now I have with the iPhone 7. So the mini is not for me. I'm going ahead with the iPhone 12. Also, I didn't talk about the camera and the performance and operating system. or the camera okay. in this video about the iPhone 12, but I'll talk about that in the iPhone 12 review, because I think that's where it will make the most sense. The mini is all about the size. It's deal breaker or a deal maker for most people. But that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to do the needful, and I'll talk to you in the next one, the iPhone 12 review.